Coaches and consultants, do you ever feel like there's just not enough time to get things done? You likely have a to-do list and you're constantly adding things to it. You even check things off, but then more keeps getting added, so you feel like there's no end in sight. If this is you, you're gonna wanna stick around as I share some really effective time management strategies to support your growth. And as someone who has scaled a successful business and has helped many of my clients grow theirs, I can tell you that the number one thing you must do is to take control of your calendar. And I always tell my clients, you either control your calendar or it controls you. And maybe you're familiar with this concept, but it can be a little confusing and even overwhelming to understand how exactly you can get control of your calendar so that you're the most efficient during your working hours, so you get things done and you feel accomplished and do all of this without burning out. Hi, I'm Jessica Yarbrough, top business strategist for coaches and consultants who want to land high value contracts. And if you're new to my channel, we talk about high-end sales, mindset, growth, and more. So be sure to hit that like or subscribe button so you know when my next video drops. Let's dive in. Time management strategy number 1, use time blocking for all of your major repetitive tasks. One of the worst things you can do for your performance as an entrepreneur is to schedule a lot of different things on your calendar and then try to get creative work done in between. Let's say you open your computer at 9 a.m., you check your email, and you spend the first hour trying to play catch up on social media and responding to messages and emails. Then you have a 10 a.m. coaching call, a podcast you're recording at noon, a team meeting at 1:30, another coaching call at 3. And in between all of this, you're trying to work on a few emails that need to get sent out to your list, maybe make some updates to your website, follow up with some connections from a networking event that you recently attended, approve a half a dozen things from your team, and more. Like your brain is literally trying to jump from creative tasks to coaching to strategy to being interviewed as an expert to more. And every time you switch tasks, that takes brain power and you have to focus on a different thing, and it takes time for your brain to catch up. So if you want to be really effective with your time management, carve out dedicated times for your tasks. For example, maybe you have a dedicated day that is mainly for back-end business things, and you have a separate day that is for creative work. For example, on days when I record videos, that's something I do that day. It's like an entire block of time dedicated to batching my videos. It's the same kind of thing when I'm doing any kind of creative writing. I'm gonna block off 3 or 4 hours at a time to get those things done. And I'm not gonna do it on the same day where I would say be coaching clients on strategy, which takes a lot of brain power and is different than creative work. So time block for your major repetitive task and then fill in everything else in between. Number 2, to be more effective with time management, have a start and an end time to your work week, and also bake in at least one day off. It's really easy as an entrepreneur when you work from home to be connected to your business 24/7. How many times have you been watching Netflix while simultaneously on your phone at 9 o'clock at night responding to client emails or engaging on social media? If you want to be really effective with not only getting things done, but also creating boundaries to help your overall physical and mental energy, then have dedicated work hours. These are the times when you know that you're going to be available, sitting down at your computer and responsive to clients, teams, or prospect. And then when your time is up, you turn off your computer and you do not open work things no matter how tempting it is. Now, if you're a parent like I am, a great time to set the end of your day is when it's time to pick up your kids from school, and that becomes family time. It took me a long time to master this component, and it's really challenging because we live in such a connected world where anyone can get a hold of you at any time. So you have to be really strong in your boundaries and say, okay, these are my set work hours and I'm not going to deviate. I'm available to work during these hours and then I'm done at this time. Number 3, a really effective time management strategy for coaches and consultants is to have dedicated coaching and consulting days. Now, if you open up your calendar right now and you have 5 days a week and you've got, say, 20 different clients spread across 5 days, some of them early in the morning, some midday, some of them into the evening, then you have an issue. Again, take control of your calendar and decide which days are going to be your dedicated coaching or consulting days. Push your clients into working with you on those days. Now, that doesn't mean that things are not going to come up and sometimes you'll do a different day, but for the most part, you can organize your schedule so that you have back-to-back clients on dedicated coaching or consulting days. You're going to have your coach or consultant hat on, be in that mode to provide guidance, strategy, advice, and you'll be performing optimally because you're not doing a bunch of other things in between. Number 4, If you want to be excellent at time management, then start getting really good at project management. And by the way, this may not be your strong suit, and it's okay if it's not. Then you want to have a team member who can take ownership of the project management for the business. Before we do anything major in the business, we have a team meeting and we do a brainstorming session of all the different elements that are going to go into that project, such as the tasks that are going to need to be done, who's going to own which task, and what's the timeline for each task completion. That's our initial brainstorming session, and then my team member who's in charge of project management will continue to flush it out and put it in our project management app. She'll assign roles and due dates so everything gets done in a timely manner. It's very important that no matter what it is, whether you're designing a new asset or rolling out a new program or building a membership site or any other major project you're doing in the business, that you first have that project management brainstorming session and then organize what the timeline and tasks are going to be so that you get things done. If you don't, then what tends to happen is you as a business owner gets really excited about a new idea and thinks it's going to be a piece of cake to roll it out. Then your team starts on the project and you realize that not only is it going to take a lot longer than you thought, but it's going to cost you a lot more. And if you can start to get really good at the project management, you'll have a better understanding of if a new strategy really makes sense for your business, what's it going to take in terms of manpower and investment, and then you can make an informed decision as to whether you want to execute on that strategy or not. Number 5, start and end your meetings on time. If you want to be more effective at time management, honor the beginning and ends that you set your time, whether it's with your clients or your team. And that's not to say that occasionally if you're wrapping up for the day and you have more time, you can go over with a client, but you should not be consistently going beyond your scheduled time with a client. Sometimes coaches and consultants think this is a positive because you're giving more of your time, and sometimes your client may see that as valuable, but other times it may frustrate them because they have other things to do as well. And if you're someone that's going over and then that's pushing back your schedule and then you're running late to all your other meetings, you're literally creating a domino effect of tardiness everywhere. And this is going to frustrate whoever you have meetings with later that day. So start and end your calls on time. I promise your team members and your clients will appreciate it, and you're going to be more effective at getting things done. Number 6, give yourself actual deadlines to get things done. A really important time management strategy is you need to have an actual deadline. If you don't have a deadline and you just have a list, then you've given yourself to until whenever to get it done. But when you have a deadline, you're more likely to get it done. So how long is it going to take you to get something done? The answer, however much time you set the deadline. If you give yourself 2 months to get something done, it's literally going to take you 2 months. If you give yourself 2 days to get something done, it'll take you 2 days. Most entrepreneurs are getting lost in the day-to-day and wandering aimlessly without a deadline, and it takes them forever to move projects to the finish line. If you give yourself a more immediate deadline, you can get things done quickly. I personally have whipped out 30 pages of content, created entire sales pages, entire programs, recorded a ton of videos and more in a short time frame if I gave myself a deadline and set a goal to have it done soon. There is power in having a deadline, so set them and make sure they're not too far out for urgent things that are going to make the biggest impact to your bottom line. Finally, number 7, take time off and schedule time off. If you want to be effective with your time management, make sure that your calendar isn't just filled with work things. I actually encourage all of my clients to have a dedicated day off during the week. And if you're not ready for that, start with half a day. I personally take Fridays off. I don't have calls on Friday. My team is not asking me for things on Friday. In fact, if they need something approved, they know they need to get it to me by Thursday at 12 o'clock. And some people may say, hey, I've got the weekends. But the reality is weekends can get filled up pretty quickly, especially if you have any kind of social life or if you're a parent with kids in sports or you're involved with your church. So when you have an extra day off, that can be your free day. Maybe you go for a hike or a bike ride, or you go get a massage and have some true self-care time. It can also be a day where you get some of your errands done that you're not able to get done on the weekends. I'm sure you guys watching have literally blown through a weekend and said, where's the time gone? If you have an extra day, it's not going to feel like that. It's the same thing with vacations. I plan out mine for the year. Now, that doesn't mean that I am meticulously booking flights and hotels a year in advance, but I'm absolutely blocking off vacation time. I block off my work retreats. I block off my team retreats. I block off my vacation, even if I'm not sure where I'm going quite yet. And this allows me to not schedule things like client coaching calls during allocated vacation time. It also allows me to look at my calendar and say, wow, I booked a ton of trips this year. I'm really excited about that. And it also allows me not to get halfway through the year and suddenly realize, crap, I haven't taken a vacation yet. So I highly encourage you to set your calendar a year in advance so that you know at least the weeks and the long weekends you can block, and then you can have a placeholder to then go back and plan something really awesome. Remember that you can't pour from an empty cup, so be sure to take time off, whether it's a luxury cruise or a low-cost camping trip, something to rejuvenate you so you can come back to work rested and inspired to go. This wraps up my video on 7 effective time management strategies for your growth. I'd love to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway? Drop a comment below. Until next time.